grow. They just need some seed capital. You loan to them. Given that you don't have the regulatory environment to guarantee you're going to get your money back, if I loan money to you, I sit on your board. By you sitting on their board, you can control their strategy. You have insight to how they're operating. So you could guide that strategy to ensure that that company succeeds, because if that company succeeds, you get your money back. If that company succeeds, they're your customer. When they need to expand, they'll come to you. When they need lines of credit to finance their working capital, they'll come to you. Start off lending to business. Once you're generating sufficient revenue from lending to business, then start lending to consumers. You want to build a house? I'll lend you $50,000. Go build your house. You want to start a business? I'll lend you $10,000. Go start a business. You want to buy a car? I'll lend you $5,000. Go buy a car. By doing this, once again, start off small. Start off with $100,000 in capital and lend small. To start, lend small. The $100,000 you might just be lending to farmers or some little shopkeeper who wants to finance their inventory or build a new store. Start off small. As you build up, then start lending to bigger entities. Now you lend to that motherfucker that want to start a car assembly plant. He couldn't do it before because there was no capital. But now, you've built yourself up. He needs $10 million. Do it, motherfucker. Through that lending, what are you doing? You're enabling businesses to succeed. As businesses succeed, they employ people. As people are employed, they spend money. As people spend money, more businesses succeed, and they employ more people. Your $100,000 in about 5 years could lead to a significant reduction in unemployment in your nation. It starts small. Research banking. I'll say this. As flawed as it is, America has one of the best banking systems in the world. Research American banks, how they operate, how they generate revenue, how they lend, what criteria they look at. Identify the weaknesses in American banking systems. Identify the strengths. Magnify the strengths. Eliminate the weaknesses. And that's a banking system you're going to introduce in your nation. That banking system will put so many people to work. And by putting those people to work, will reduce their reliance on the government. That reduction will lead to a reduction in corruption. Watch it. The second avenue, venture capital. Now, once again, you could raise $100,000. Go back to Angola. With this $100,000, you're now going to fund business startups. So you're going to look for people who might have a little business here, a little business there. Maybe it could be an artisan that makes wood carvings. Maybe it could be a little restaurant on the corner that makes good food and has a lot of people coming in, but They got room for improvement. And if they got that improvement, they'd be so much better. It could be a coffee farmer. Just started his little farm, got 2 or 3 acres of coffee planted, who wants to grow, maybe wants a little irrigation system. He might want a little truck to transport his coffee. Invest in these kinds of businesses. Businesses that have potential, number one, for growth, number two, for employing people. You put 10,000 in that business, 5,000 in that business, 15,000 in that business. Get a seat on the board. Work with the business owners. Nurture them. Guide them to success. As those businesses succeed, they employ people. Those people spend money. As they spend money, other businesses succeed. Your $10,000 investment within 1-2 years is now 40,000, 50,000. That's how the VCs, venture capitalists in Silicon Valley operate. They'll fund 20 companies, but they only need 5 of those companies to be successful for them to make a profit. In your case, you'll fund 10 companies, but you want all 10 to be successful. Start off small, fund 10 companies. Those companies prosper, take that money, fund another 10 companies. They prosper, take that money, fund another 10 companies. They prosper. Now, whereas before you're doing $10,000 funding, $20,000 funding, $50,000 funding, your money has grown. And you can now do $1 million funding, $10 million funding. Just imagine the impact it could have on your nation. You started off with 100,000, built it up. You could even start off with 10,000, build it up. You've put so many of your countrymen to work. You've reduced your countrymen's reliance on the government. You've enhanced the economy of your nation. And you've made yourself a very rich motherfucker. Who would not want that? Risk management systems. I want to talk about 2 things. I want to talk about futures markets and insurance markets. Insurance is protection against a potential risk, such that should that risk occur, your financial loss is limited to the deductible. Most consumers know about health insurance and life insurance. But you also have property and casualty insurance. That covers, for example, if I'm an airline, I might purchase casualty insurance such that if that plane crashes and the passengers sue me, the insurance company pays. Doctors purchase malpractice insurance, which is a form of casualty insurance, such that if you go to a doctor and they're a dumb shit doctor, I'm not saying doctors are dumb, but I'm saying if you go to a doctor who happens to be a dumb shit doctor and they do some dumb shit and you're fucked up, you sue them. When you sue them, their insurance company pays. Property insurance, if I have a building and it burns down, my insurance pays for that. If I have a car and I crash it, my insurance pays for that. So to understand insurance, I recommend you read up on the CLU and the CPCU. Those are the two top designations in the insurance world. CLU stands for Chartered Life Underwriter. CPCU stands for Chartered Property and Casualty Underwriter. Understand how these insurance companies operate, how they estimate risk, and by estimating risk, how they establish their pricing, their premiums. So read up on actuary science. Actuaries are the people in insurance companies that do all this modeling, probability modeling, stochastics, random variables. How likely is it that a person of this age is going to incur this condition? It could be death, it could be a disease. How likely is it that a building in this part of town, in this condition, is going to catch fire? Because remember, insurance companies do not want to pay out. They only want to collect premiums. The more premiums they collect and the less that they pay out, that's more money that they could invest in real estate, they could invest in the stock market, they could invest in bonds. Insurance companies are not in the business of insuring people. So when you go to Zambia, and you want to start an insurance company, here's how it works. You issue policies, and you say, let's just talk about fire protection, fire insurance. It's 10 buildings, 10 businesses, 10 building owners, property owners, and they want protection against fire for their properties. You do your math, you determine that in any given year, there's only a 10% probability of a building catching fire and burning down. So you're insuring 10 buildings in any given year. Your expectation is that only one of those buildings should burn down. If that building burns to the ground, it's going to cost you $20,000 to reimburse that owner. You got 10 buildings. You expect to pay out $20,000 in a year. Let's say you want to make 200% profit. So you want to get $60,000. You want to make $40,000 profit, but you're going to pay out $20,000. So you want to get $60,000. You're insuring 10 people for $60,000. 10 divided by 60,000 divided by 10 is 6,000. So that is your premium that you're going to charge each of these building owners. $6,000 a month. If you want to cut your insurance down lower, your profitability down lower, you could charge them $3,000 a month. $3,000 a month, 10, that's $30,000. You got to pay off on one for $20,000. That means you're making 50% profit each. Now you're making 30% profit, $10,000. You're making $10,000 profit each year. All right. Now, the money you get in terms of premiums, don't just sit on it. Invest it. Buy some properties in the country. Fund some businesses in the country. Buy U.S. Treasury bonds. Invest in mutual funds. Such that when you do have to make a payout, that $30,000 you got in premiums through your investments now actually goes up to about $40,000. So if you got to make that $20,000 payout, you still got $20,000 in your pocket. Start small. Start insuring 10 buildings. After 1 year, you've built up your money, insure another 10 buildings. After another year, insure 20 buildings. Over time, you become the major insurer in your country. Having insurance provides ease of mind to businesses. If I'm a business, I don't have to put $20,000 on the side just in case my building burns down. That $20,000 I can now invest in the business and allow the business to grow. As that business grows, it could employ more people. Those additional people spend their money. Other businesses grow. So identify what type of insurance you want to offer. Start off with one type. Become successful in that type, then expand to another type. Become successful in that, then expand to another. Within 5 to 7 years, you, Zambian or Zambians, could find yourselves providing insurance, property and casualty insurance for your entire nation. For your entire nation. Health insurance. Now, health insurance would have to come after. That's why I say that. If you got someone that only got $500 in their pocket and they don't have a job, and you tell them, hey, buy this health insurance policy so when you get sick, you go to the hospital, you ain't got a patient, you're good. How much is it? Oh, it'll be $100 a year. Damn, nigga, I only got $500 to last me for, 10, 15 years. I don't know when I'm going to get some more money. And you want me to pay you $100 every year? You know what? I'll take my chances. I don't want to risk it. So before you start providing health insurance, you need people working. You need people working. As you get more and more people working, then you start to offer them health insurance. When you offer health insurance, go talk to the hospitals. Tell them, look, I got this insurance program, and I wanted to cover these people for whatever ailments they have. I want you, the hospital, to be one of my providers. How much? Let's negotiate prices for different services. So a general practitioner consultation, let's state that at $100. Okay. A general surgery, let's peg that at $500. A more complicated surgery, heart bypass, transplantation, lungs, things like that, let's make that $1,000. Now you have negotiated prices with the providers. Based on those negotiated prices, once again, put on your actuary hat and look at the population. How likely is it that someone will need a bypass surgery? How likely is it that someone will need a cast for a broken leg? How likely is it that someone will have a general practitioner consultation? Based on those likelihoods, establish your probable costs in any given year. Determine what your desired profitability is, and based on the probable costs and your desired profitability, look at the population you're serving. Based on that population, you can establish what a suitable premium would be. Start small, 5,000 people, I got you covered. That goes well. 10,000 people, that goes well. 20,000 people, pretty soon you're providing health insurance for the entire nation. That health insurance ensures that hospitals are generating revenue. Work with the hospitals. Okay, motherfucker, I'm bringing patients to you. They're paying patients. So now what I want you as a hospital to do is to start to improve your facilities, expand your facilities. The result is people in your nation, in Zambia, are more healthy. Hospitals in your nation are more effective. A healthy population is a productive population. A healthy population is not a drag on the society. A healthy population leads to a prosperous economy. The other form of insurance I want to talk about is futures markets. Now, the way futures markets work in the US is, let's say I'm a coffee farmer and I produce coffee. Now, my harvest is not for 3 months. Right now, I could sell a bushel of coffee, a big bag of coffee, a big sack of coffee for $50. That's the market price right now. I anticipate that it's going to cost me $40 to produce each bushel. So if I could sell a bushel for $50, I make $10 profit per bushel. However, I'm uncertain because if there's a bumper harvest, that means supply is going to exceed demand, which will drive prices down. So I want to insure myself against that situation. That's where the futures markets come in. As a producer of coffee, I will sell a futures contract on that coffee. And let's say I want to make $53 per bushel. So I will sell that futures contract for $53. When I harvest that coffee in 3 months from now, if the price of a bushel is $45, it cost me $40. If I sold it at market price, I'd only make $5 profit. But since I sold that futures contract with a strike price or a price of $53, that means in 3 months from now, when I harvest my coffee, I'll be able to sell it for $53, which means I've locked in $13 profit per bushel. Now, if the price of coffee should go up to $60, well, I want to sell it at $60 as opposed to $53. So, when you establish futures markets, what you're doing initially, and there's the other side. There's the other side to the futures markets. I just spoke about the producer. Now let's talk about the consumer. So we know coffee shops, we know Starbucks, we know Panera Bread in California. They got Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. All these guys buy coffee. You got Procter and Gamble, the big food processors. They buy coffee to grind and sell in the grocery store. I'm Procter and Gamble. I anticipate I need 100,000 bushels of coffee in 3 months. But I know when I grind it down and I sell it, I'll probably make $60, the equivalent of $60 per bushel. I look at the current market price and it's $50. My target is to make about $13 profit per bushel. So, I don't know. The price could go up in 3 months, it could go down in 3 months. But I want to make $13 profit. I'm selling for $60, so I want to buy it for $47. So what do? I buy futures contracts on coffee for $47 a bushel. In 3 months, if coffee's gone up to $80 a bushel, if I bought it at 80 and I sold it for 60, I'd lose $20 a bushel. But I locked in a price of 47. So what do? I exercise and I get those bushels for $47 a bushel. Process my coffee and I sell it for 60. I still make my $13 profit. A perfect example, Southwest Airlines. There's this, their CFO, I forget his name, I don't know his name, he's some white boy, smart white boy, very smart white boy. Around the time that the price of crude oil started to go up, airlines, and for airlines, one of their biggest cost factors is fuel. So if I'm an airline and I got a plane, and that plane can sit 100 people, and I charge each of those people $50, that's $5,000, and the plane is full. And I pay my pilot, my stewardess, and all of those, I pay them, let's just say, $2,000. So I got $3,000 left. All right? If the price of kerosene, which is what airplanes use, kerosene. Small planes, I fly small planes. You know, the twin prop, single prop, I fly those. They use gasoline. High octane gasoline, but gasoline. Jets use kerosene, which is much higher octane. So I got $3,000 after paying off my staff. Now, off of this $3,000, let's say maintenance of the aircraft, let's say I'm leasing the plane, say that takes about $700. I got $2,300 left. If it costs me $1,000 to fuel that plane, I'm flying from LA to New York, or that jet, I'm flying from LA to New York. If it costs me $1,000 today, let's say when the price of a barrel of crude is $50, okay, then I can make $1,700 profit. But if the price of crude goes up to $80, then it might cost me $2,000. So I go from making $1,700 profit to making $700 profit. A lot of airlines were struggling because of that. But this CFO from Southwest Airlines, what he did, he bought futures contracts on crude oil, such that as the price of crude went up, he had it locked. And because of that, while all other airlines were struggling, Southwest Airlines was doing just fine. So when you establish these futures markets in your nation, now let's think of another nation. Let's go to Burundi. So you have a lot of coffee farmers in Burundi. All right? And that's their livelihood. If it costs them $20 to farm raise and transport a bushel of coffee. They cannot afford to sell it for less than $20. If they want to prosper, they want to sell it for $30. So you establish a futures exchange. Initially, you might be the only counterparty, which means that you're essentially selling these futures contracts or buying them. You're going to charge a premium which will compensate for any potential loss that you might incur. But what you're going to do, so you're going to start off sort of as an agent, guaranteeing prices for these futures farmers. That's going to result in the farmers in Burundi being more successful because now they could farm with peace of mind, knowing that I could sell this coffee for a certain price. That will ensure their profitability, which should go back into their farm to enhance their production. As a result, you have a farmer that only had a 5-acre farm. He's now doing so well, he now expands to a 10-acre farm. By expanding to a 10-acre